8 years ago, Thailand made a bold move that stunned the global arms market. The government announced it would spend $1 billion on submarines from China, a decision that promised to reshape the Thai Navy and give Beijing another win in its race to become a global weapons powerhouse. But what seemed like a straightforward deal quickly spiraled into a high-stakes standoff, involving money, politics, and an unexpected roadblock from Germany. And the way this drama unfolded could change the balance of power in Asia's waters. At first, it sounded simple. Thailand wanted 3 modern submarines, and China's S-26T model beat out bids from South Korea, France, and Germany. The deal was structured to ease Thailand's budget pressures, with payments made in installments and deliveries set to happen in batches. For China, it wasn't just about selling hardware. This was a chance to showcase its shipbuilding power and prove to Southeast Asia that Beijing could compete with the traditional giants of the arms trade. But beneath the surface, trouble was already brewing. Because while the submarines were Chinese-made, Thailand insisted on one very specific detail: German engines. The MTU 396 diesel engine, to be exact, a piece of technology trusted worldwide for its power, quiet performance, and reliability. Without those engines, the subs would remain lifeless shells. And that's when Germany stepped in to block the deal. Berlin refused to export the engines, citing the European Union's arms embargo on China and its own restrictions on sensitive technology. Officially, this was about policy, but many observers saw a deeper motive. Germany didn't want China scoring such a major victory in the submarine market. If Thailand backed out and turned to European suppliers instead, it would mean billions of dollars in strategic influence flowing back to the West. And then there were whispers, unverified but widely circulated among defense analysts, that the United States was quietly pressuring Germany behind the scenes. Washington has long viewed China's arms sales as a tool for spreading influence in Asia. By cutting off the engines, Germany might have been helping its NATO ally slow Beijing's momentum. It's impossible to prove, but the timing raised questions. Why block the sale so aggressively when Thailand itself was willing to install the engines locally? This sudden blockade left the project adrift. You see, Thailand had already committed to the purchase, and China had promised delivery, but without engines, the submarines couldn't sail. Years slipped by, and Thailand's navy grew frustrated. Critics argued that the entire deal had been a mistake. Some Thai politicians even accused the government of caving to Beijing for political reasons rather than military logic. Allegations surfaced that the deal was less about defense and more about deepening ties with China. A claim officials denied, but one that kept resurfacing in parliamentary debates. Yet, to understand why Thailand didn't simply walk away, you have to look at the bigger picture. Because while this drama played out, China's military power was rising at a staggering pace. In just 3 decades, Beijing transformed its navy from a coastal defense force into a global contender. By 2025, experts estimate China will field over 350 ships, including aircraft carriers, advanced destroyers, and submarines designed to rival America's best. One of the most striking examples is the Type 055 destroyer, a 10,000-ton warship armed with heavy missile batteries and cutting-edge defense systems. Western analysts admitted they were shocked not only by the ship's capabilities but by how quickly China had caught up. And it wasn't just about building ships for itself. China was also becoming a dominant player in arms exports. Fighter jets to Pakistan, drones to the Middle East, tanks, air defense systems, and now submarines, all finding buyers in regions where Western influence had long been unchallenged. The Thailand deal, then, wasn't just about 3 submarines. It was about credibility. If Beijing failed to deliver, its reputation as a reliable supplier could collapse. For Thailand, though, the problem was immediate and practical. No engines meant no subs. The government even proposed a workaround to allow China to deliver the submarines to Thai territory, then install the German engines there, bypassing the embargo. But Germany said no. The message was clear. Berlin wasn't going to make this easy. Caught in the middle, Thailand hesitated, but China was already working on its own solution. Its engineers had developed the CHD-620 diesel engine, designed specifically for submarine propulsion. On paper, it offered comparable power and noise reduction to the German MTUs, even promising better fuel efficiency. The problem was trust. The MTU 396 had a long track record. The CHD 620 was still unproven, and rumors swirled inside Thailand's navy itself. Reports suggested that some senior officers were deeply skeptical, warning the government that betting on an untested Chinese engine was dangerous. Others, however, argued that rejecting the Chinese replacement would embarrass the government and damage ties with Beijing. This internal tug-of-war reportedly stalled decisions for years. That's when Pakistan entered the picture. Years earlier, Islamabad had signed its own massive submarine deal with China, 8 S-20P submarines worth $5 billion. Like Thailand, Pakistan had originally planned to use German engines. But when Berlin blocked the sale, Pakistan made a bold decision. It accepted China's CHD-620 engines instead. And well, the gamble seemed to pay off. The submarines passed tests, production continued, and Pakistan gained confidence in its growing partnership with Beijing. Thailand took notice. Over the past 2 years, Thai naval teams traveled to China repeatedly to inspect the CHD-620. They pushed it through grueling trials, running the engines for over 200 continuous hours. The results were certified by the British Lloyd's Register, a respected authority in ship classification. Thailand even studied Pakistan's experience directly, watching how the engines performed in real submarines. The turning point came just 2 weeks ago. After years of hesitation, Thailand officially approved the switch. The German engines were out. The Chinese CHD-620 was in. The contract was extended. The submarines would go ahead. And what once looked like a major failure for China had turned into something very different, a breakthrough. For Beijing, the implications are enormous. Not only did it save the Thailand deal, but it also proved that its domestic engine technology could compete on the global stage. China no longer needs to rely on German suppliers for its submarine exports. In fact, the very embargo meant to weaken China may have forced it to achieve true independence. But the rumors don't stop there. Some defense insiders suggest Germany's decision may have backfired so badly that other Southeast Asian countries are now reconsidering their reliance on Western suppliers. If China can deliver submarines at a lower cost and with engines no longer subject to Western embargoes, then the appeal becomes obvious. Malaysia, Indonesia, and even Myanmar have reportedly expressed quiet interest. Whether those leads turn into contracts remains to be seen, but the potential is enough to unsettle Western defense firms. Germany, meanwhile, finds itself on the losing side. By blocking the sale, Berlin hoped to undermine China's credibility and push Thailand back toward Western arms suppliers. Instead, it lost a billion-dollar contract and may have accelerated China's technological progress. In Southeast Asia, the symbolism is even stronger. Thailand, a longtime U.S. ally, chose to double down on its deal with China, rather than backtrack under Western pressure. And Thailand itself? The Navy will eventually get its submarines, though years later than planned. The cost has grown, but so has the significance. These subs won't just be weapons in the water. They'll stand as proof that Thailand was willing to gamble on China's technology, and that gamble might reshape the region's military balance. Still, questions linger. Some critics claim the submarines are less about defense and more about politics, a way for Thailand's leaders to signal alignment with China as the U.S. grows wary of its military government. Others wonder if the delays and controversies will leave the Navy with submarines that are already outdated by the time they arrive. After all, military technology moves fast, and China itself is already testing newer, more advanced designs. The question now is, what happens when those submarines finally join the fleet? Will the CHD-620 engines live up to their promises in real-world conditions? Or will doubts about reliability resurface once the pressure is on? For China, the entire world will be watching, because credibility in the arms market is built not on promises, but on performance. So in the end, Germany may have tried to block China's rise in the global arms market, but instead it may have fueled it. What began as a stalled contract is now a showcase for Chinese technology, and a reminder that in the world of defense, every decision has consequences far beyond the balance sheet. And for Thailand, the story isn't over, because the true test of this deal will only begin when those submarines finally dive beneath the surface. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing for more content like this. Until next time, stay inspired.